He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham. Welcome once again to Bat Minute of the Phantasm, the show that could sure use a big-time city councilman on its side. Think of the ratings, Niall. Think of the ratings. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I mean, you say that, but I couldn't name you one city councilman around here, so...
That's a good point. I don't think we have the same attachment to local politics here, which is a bad thing. We should.
It would be like if a city councilman from Liverpool came out and was like, you guys should all listen to the Batman podcast. People would be like, get back to fucking work, lad. What are you doing? What are you recommending podcasts?
Pretty much.
Yeah. But yes, I'm also here, Niall McGann.
As usual, can't get rid of you.
Yeah.
But we are joined by guests, as we usually are. And they are returning guests. You will know both of them. We are joined by Johnie Powers. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. And Travis Bow.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice Obi-Wan. I like that.
I think that is Travis's go-to intro.
I can't not do it that way now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's stuck. I don't know what else to say, Hello there.
Yeah. It's becoming more synonymous in my mind with you now than it was with Obi-Wan, really.
That's a good point. Yeah, I've probably heard you say it more than him. That's shocking. Okay, I like it. Screw you, Ewan McGregor. Who are you? And screw you, Alec Guinness. All of you, all the Obi-Wans.
Let's go through the list. That guy from Clone Wars, he probably did it a couple of times too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember who the cartoon guys are, but yeah, you two, you're trash.
That's a bad attitude to have. Like, I don't remember the cartoon guys. Like, here we are to talk about an animated film with a bunch of voice actors of some renown.
As I've told the listeners already, I'm not. My background isn't in like watching animation, and that's part of the fun here, right?
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about minute 7. The minute starts with a plane, and it ends with some ladies about to run a train.
Yep. Oh! Let's bring the tone down, John. Jeez.
It was the only rhyme I could think of.
Yeah, it's Monday morning, man. People are just having their croissants and stuff.
Well, when we get there, you'll see these ladies. They're very excited.
The thirst is like the friggin' carpet must be overrun with saliva around Bruce's ankles. Like, Jesus Christ. But should ask you guys actually. Although I know the answer for you, Travis, because I know you on your show you have covered this movie already, so I know you're
correct.
at least familiar with it. And plus, you actually specifically asked for these minutes as well. Yeah. But also just you and Johnny, because this movie often celebrated as like one of the best Batman movies, if not the best Batman movie. But a lot of the time, you mention to people, and they haven't seen it. So like, how familiar are you guys with this film?
Johnny?
Travis, you're very familiar.
Oh, I am, yeah. I didn't see this one in theater, but I definitely saw it on the home release VHS, several times, and then it kind of went away for a long time. I didn't see it. It wasn't, they didn't just play it on TV every so often. But yeah, I mean, it's one that I like to revisit every couple of years. I haven't really watched it since we covered it on my podcast a few years ago, but I really like it. It's a great movie.
So they actively trying to find. You said you didn't see it in theaters. This movie was such a bomb in theaters, like on a $6 million budget. We're actually trying to find the 2 people who did go to see it in the cinema. It would be fairly easy to track down, you'd assume. But I think Mark Hamill's one of them, because I know he tells a story about it. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But Johnny, like, are you well ensconced with Phantasm lore, or was this a new one for you, or what's the deal?
I think I watched it for the first time maybe like 8 years ago. Or something, 8 or 9 years ago. I was like 1 when it came out, so I'm not one of the 2 people who went to movie theaters to see it.
Maybe you were and you didn't realize.
Oh, maybe I got drugged there by my dad or something, but no. I watched it. So I don't even remember because before HBO Max picked it up, it was really hard to find streaming wise unless you were going to be a pirate.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like almost non-existent, or you had to pay or rent or buy or like whatever. And so I just remember I watched it literally like with Mark like forever ago because he was like, you need to see this movie. You will really love it. It's like very critically acclaimed. And I was like, okay, let's go. And we just had a movie night and I watched it and I was like, oh, I really like this. But I haven't watched it since. And I watched it last night because I was like, let me just brush back up. And I forgot how much I loved it.
Oh, I was worried the way that was going there for a second because you built that up of him telling you, oh, it's amazing. And I thought you were going to be like the one person who was like, it stinks. I hate it.
No, not at all.
I want at least one guest who hates it.
Yeah.
That'll be another one, even harder to find than I think everybody who watches it seems to be like, at least, it's good.
I wonder if the slightly edgier content in this movie may have, made it difficult to air on on TV sometimes because this is the only Batman the Animated Series thing that I can think of that has blood occasionally and characters that die. So
There's even stuff, the stuff in here actually got a note on it. Stuff in this minute that's like would not be in the TV show and stuff. It's like got a little story to go with it as well. But we'll get to that when we get to it and stuff.
I brought up like either last week or the week before. I can't remember now. It is odd that this is essentially aimed at like a younger audience, children, but it's a very adult like plot. Yeah. And I don't mean the sexy, which, but I mean...
It even gets sexy gangsters. Sometimes. I mean, when Bruce and Andrea meet, it's heavily implied that, Alfred walks away because they're about to, it's about to get, R-rated.
Yeah, he's raw dogging on the lawn.
So the series never did that. He might have kissed a lady, but...
You can push it when it comes to film.
It is weird. I remember this. I only remember this being on TV like one time. I remember like a random Saturday afternoon, and it was on ITV, and it was at like 1 p.m. And I think even when I was a kid, thinking like this doesn't really seem like the time to show this because that's usually when they put on like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something. And it's like fun afternoon movie. And this is like, well, this is more of a. It's not fun. Like, it's good, but it's not like wacky. I guess there's some wackiness because the Joker's there in it, but
Over here, Cartoon Network would start airing it, and they would kind of make a big deal about it. Like Saturday night, we're airing, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. But
I mean, what you guys? You're the first American guest we've had on this season. I know the animated series in terms of like the actual where it was airing. It's a bit confusing to me because like. The show opened with like the Warner Brothers logo turning into a blimp. Yeah. But yet it's like, it aired on Fox Kids. Right. And you're like, but Fox and Warner Brothers are enemies. Like, how did this? And then they're like, then move to WB. And it's like, well, how did Warner Brothers let Fox?
Well, there was no WB when this show started. Oh, no, WB didn't start until maybe 98.
Like 5 or 6?
Yeah, 95, 96, 97, somewhere around there. So yeah, this show just had no other place. I mean, so another network like CBS or ABC could have picked it up, but yeah, Fox seemed eager to.
Warner Brothers always a little bit behind because that was always like it used to be a godsend on the whole show used to be on Amazon Prime over here. Yeah, just additional for free. Like if you're paying for Amazon Prime, you're getting it. And then they announced HBO Max. And then there's like, you're taking that. So I guess it must be the same deal. Back then, they're like, Fox Kids, you're enjoying that Batman property you got. We're taking it back. Now we got our own network. And like, come on, man. And then over here, there still is no HBO Max over in...
No, they keep threatening that it's coming.
So over here now, to legally own Batman the Animated Series, you either have it on physical media or you gotta pay through the nose to buy each season.
That's so wild.
Yeah, it's very, very annoying. Is what it is, quite frankly. But
it is.
Yeah, but you guys, I'm assuming you guys were both like big on the animated show back in the day, anyway. Because
This was
Definitely.
every day after school, come home at 4:30 and Batman, the animated series was on, and I remember watching it from the original airing, and then of course reruns over the years and stuff. But yeah, this was a huge part of my growing up.
Yeah, like just like you, I guess, had Fox Kids. Like that was what was after school for me too. Weirdly, my grandma didn't have cable, but we had like the basic channels, and they did Fox Kids and ran cartoons, a good plethora. Obviously, a lot of Pokemon and stuff, but at the time, but did run like Batman and things like that. So I love. That was my spot. I'm like, let me just sit down and have a snack and just mainline cartoons for like 3 hours.
Yeah. That sounds like something I would do now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'm bringing it back. I've got my Saturday mornings now. I was like, no, that's I'm bringing back Saturday morning cartoons. So I'm making my way back through this show, obviously for obvious reasons. And then like Justice League, because I never got seeing all of Justice League when it was on. Samurai Jack, because I just want to watch it. Currently going through the Silver Surfer cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Short-lived, but still great and stuff. But,
it is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will go through this minute then.
Yes, we should. We shall.
Yeah. So we're back as we cut straight, like immediately from the Batcave to a plane in flight, and on board we see. Well, we don't know who it is yet. Let's call her a mystery lady.
Some sort
know
of
who it is.
phantasm in the air or some sort.
Oh, Niall, spoilers. And she informs Arthur Reeves, who we saw earlier, that she will be landing any minute.
So this is like this is one of those ones that like movies by minutes shows are kind of made for, I guess, because you have to now think about the logic of this. Of like, okay, so the phantasm already struck, and so what Andrea Beaumont has done is she came to town, killed Chucky Saul, and then drove back out of town, presumably, then is now flying in and is deliberately calling from a plane. So as to be like, look, I was 100% on a plane when that
It's perfect cover.
Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of... So I guess she's just under the assumption that, like, well, on the off chance that anyone does check me, I better make sure that I've got an actual, like... Because I don't think the police ever come close to being like, oh, maybe the Andrea Beaumont. Like, the police are completely, like, they're too busy trying to catch Batman in this movie.
They're barely a presence in the movie, except to go after Batman. And, she's got those receipts. She can prove where she was and where she wasn't. So
it's a very elaborate scheme, and I love it. It kind of it's. Well, I mean, a show that me and Niall are both watching independently. It reminds me of like something that would happen in Poker Face, and then Batman uncovers the the scheme. It's like just one more thing.
Yeah, I think like one moment later in the movie is him like after shagging Andrea somewhere in the laundry room in the house, he's just like one last thing, Miss Beaumont.
Well, to me, it's like women in crime. She's like way more calculated than like. A lot of the bumbling gangsters, I guess, in the Batman universe.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, especially in this movie as well. Like she's got one up on all of them throughout.
Yeah, this is because this is an alibi she never even needs it to pay off. Like, the fact is, we'll get to it as the movie goes on, but like at no point does like the light of justice ever shine in her direction. There's one person who figures out that it's her independently. And it's the friggin' Joker. He's the only one to be like, oh, that must be it. Everyone else is like, Phantasm, I don't know, it must be your dad, I guess.
Well, she had a perfect, I guess, like, growing up cover. She's from Gotham, right? She's, like, a Gotham child.
Yeah.
And she was always known as, like, the daddy's girl. Of, like, under her, like, he was protecting her. Like, she was just the sweet, like...
Yeah.
The sweet girl who went around and went to parties like Bruce's and things like that. Yeah. And so she had like this beautiful cover of like, no one will ever expect it's me because I'm just that protected little angel.
Yeah. Do have to wonder though. Because, okay, so she, you get into a whole other conversation of like, so we don't know exactly where she's come from. It never specifies, I don't think, where the Beaumonts flee to, because I guess it's supposed to be secret because they're hiding out.
It's Europe.
Europe.
Yeah,
They're vague about Europe. Yeah.
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 That's a humongous area.
I think as Jack Napier went over there, it's like, yeah, finally just went to Europe and just found them. They like walked around the streets asking them, like, oh, ginger lady and her dad with a mustache.
I do love it in movies and TV when people say, oh yeah, I'm going to Europe. It's like, so where are you going? Are you going to France?
Yeah.
Are you going to like Poland?
It's like, are you going? I'm going to walk around Asia for a bit. It's like it's only but 7 billion miles wide. That's fine.
I was just going to say, like, watching it this time around, I found myself wishing there was a little bit less Joker content and more Andrea, more Phantasm, because, you don't find out where she's been. Maybe she was off, like Bruce, going on a journey to train with, all kinds of different people to become this assassin. I wish there was a little bit more of her story in this movie, because she's a great character, that we actually meet here in this minute for the first time. And I think I'd rather have a little bit less Joker stuff.
Well, there's some questions to be made, but just in terms of like even the logistics of what she's done here, because I guess she would have to fly over from Europe, then get a stopover flight to make sure she lands in a different state, and then drive to Gotham, and then drive back, and then get on that plane to make sure, like, so maybe she stayed in a different state for a couple of days or something like that, or otherwise it'd just be like, you can't get straight over from Europe on the one plane, but then somehow get off the plane, unless you are, in fact, Batman. Who I'm sure he could do it, to get off the plane and get back on the plane if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's also just the thing, too, of the Beaumont finances, because, like, we know that they're up to their necks in debt to the Valestra gang. But yet, Andrea seems to have, like, money and means when she comes back. This is like, she's not impoverished. We know that her dad is dead. So just where's her money coming? She does sound like, maybe it's just because she sounds rich. Like, you don't have a name like Andrea Beaumont without being...
Right.
Everyone called Beaumont is rich.
Yeah.
Everyone.
They just give you $1 billion as soon as you're out of the womb. It's like, well, you're going to need it. Just in case, yeah. But, just wonder, as you say, Travis, we never find out much about her. Like, we know she loves communicating inside vehicles, because we see her on a phone in a car later. This lady just could not wait for mobile phones to be invented. Just like,
right.
I just need a thing. I need to talk to someone right bloody now. But, although this one would be very suspicious. You can imagine, like, Arthur Reeves been like, you can call me on the way onto the plane. And then on the plane on the way, I was like, no, I need to call you while I'm on the plane, so you know that I'm on the plane.
Yeah.
100% has to be midair. There's like, she could have made it easier on herself by just been like getting a newspaper or like a fan. Just be like, yeah, Arthur, I'm just on the plane. No, I don't want any peanuts.
Yeah.
Where does this landline thing come from, though? Is it one of those like mobile like bag phones? Or is it like, does every seat in this plane have a...
Maybe.
There was a weird period of time where there were like a lot of phones on planes. So
I wonder if they bring you the phone, plug it into something, and then it operates. Maybe they have a couple phones that they can plug into your seat. I don't know.
Yeah,
that would make a lot more sense. They couldn't. Then again, how expensive is this flight?
Right.
She's very rich. She's called Beaumont. So, it could be the top tier of airline.
Yeah. Although it does aggressively have like a landline quality to the phone she's handling.
Yeah.
But I guess like back then, maybe it's just because you can when you're rich, but like, I know nowadays they say like, oh, it's not that big a deal, but I would still be like, you're not supposed to be on the phone when you're on a plane. It messes with like the radar and stuff.
I don't think it does anymore.
Yeah.
I'm active. The amount of people, every time I'm on a plane, I've seen people like listen to the announcement, like, please turn your phones into airplane mode, and they're just like, nope, just continue on watching. Like, same deal anytime they're going like, oh, please pay attention to the people doing the thing. It's like, even now, I was like, I've seen it 1,000,000 times. I know that I can walk you through the air safety routine. Like, why do I have to sit and pay attention to it? But then if you don't, they're always going over to take out your headphones. You have to pay attention. It's like, I know the thing. You don't have to. It's like, turn off your phone. It's like, it doesn't matter. I know that it doesn't matter.
I think it's a legal thing rather than actually showing you again. It's like, right, now we can say we showed you, so it's your fault if you screw up.
Yep.
If I'm ever on a plane that starts spiraling, I'm going to find the one place. It was you. You're mobile. God damn it. You couldn't just wait to watch friggin' you when you landed. You had to watch it in the bill. God damn it.
I do love the framing of this shot of her on the phone. You know, like in the shadows, except for her lips. Like, I know me and you mentioned David Lynch a lot, Niall, but, you know, this is like a shot he would do, you know, because he's obsessed with bright red lips taking up the frame, and it just made me think of that. And
Yeah, it's very noirish in general.
very noir, yeah.
I think it's a great idea, too, because it immediately makes Andrea stick out as a character by the fact that they delay her reveal a little bit. Because if it was just some lady on a plane, you'd be like, particularly as a kid, you'd be like, so it's just some lady on a plane. But now the fact that they're like, oh, it's in shadow, it must be like there's something else to this. It actually makes you pay a bit more like, well, who was that? What's happening there and stuff. So I think that was very clever on their part to delay the reveal there.
I love that they get Dana Delaney as the voice of Andrea. You know, I'm glad that this didn't, you know, eliminate her from being Lois Lane later on in the Superman show.
Yeah.
I think it only helped. I think it was based on this performance. They're like, yeah, you're pretty good. You want to come back and do this?
I think it's interesting obviously we talked about her red lips, like that choice with her red hair, because a lot of times redheads either really lean into it or shy away from red lips, but they gave her like this beautiful, like stark contrast to like 99% of the women that Bruce goes after.
Oh yeah, it's
she
a
is
typical
like
thing.
That kind of outlier, that different look.
Although there's someone in the next minute that was a bit like, this is weird. This is weird what they've done with this, but I guess I'm certain it's deliberate. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that, I guess.
I do like the little tease as well, where she's, you know, like, it'll be good to see you again, Arthur, because you're like, ooh, are they already friends? Are they more than friends? What's going on? And you're not sure when you first watch it. Like,
I'm still not entirely certain what because Arthur. He's just a sleaze. He's a complete sleazebag. Like he still is just. He's just playing him as Ellis in Die Hard, and it's.
Ellis really was making a phone call from that office.
Oh yes,
was blagging that he was a big time city councilman, I guess, which sounds like something he would do, to be honest with you. But yeah, it just seems like he talks to her as if they're already in a relationship, and I don't know that they are. Like, you kind of assume, like, oh, they must be already dating. There is the chance, though, that, like, maybe Andrea is playing him because he's like, well, I do need a big-time city councilman on my side, and I do need to get these family finances sorted, so...
That's exactly what I thought. You know, like, I don't mean this as a diss to her, but I think she's using him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he immediately says, oh, yeah, you know, we'll clear up those finances for you. You know, it's like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you see him in the flashbacks, when he was just an accountant for Beaumont, you know, he was nobody. But I think now, as the city councilman, he's got the mob in his pocket. He's got city council thing, his politics going on. You know, now he kind of has some power, and so he can flirt with Andrea a little bit here, and you know, he essentially tries to make the moves on her.
Yeah, so, but she's clearly too smart to fall for it.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, I'm going to spin this around. Like,
100%.
I know you like me, so...
Yeah, I think that my only confusion was in that when he asks about, you know, like, oh, you're going to, you know, look up a certain someone and things like this. Like, when she says, oh, no, he's ancient history, the way he says, like, oh, well, that's encouraging, is as if he's saying it in a kind of like, well, the path's clear for me. I think
that's exactly what he's doing. He's like, oh, good.
Yeah, but then prior to that, she also does say, like, oh, don't start that again, Arthur. Like, it kind of means as if, like, he's always, oh, your ex, I'm always bugging about it. Which kind of makes it seem like they might already be in a kind of, like, flirtationship or something, I guess it would be. I guess probably is more that, like, he thinks that he's way, way further into this relationship. And she's just like, well, I gotta, you know, not to insult her in any way, but she is a murderer who dresses up in a cape and goes around killing people, so it's not above her to be like, oh, yeah, I'm leading this guy on because I need to get my finances sorted.
But like later on, spoilers, I guess, later on then they talk about they would go to dinner all the time together with her dad. So it's like he I feel like he was like, okay, I played the long game.
Yeah.
We're friends with dad. I did what I needed to do. She's going to fall in love with me. And she's like, He's a lackey. He's now a corrupt councilman. Don't really need this in my life. Unless you're going to help me somehow, which is totally fine because he's done bad things and swindled people and worked his way up in the mob too. So a player playing a player.
Yeah, they're perfect for each other.
I do actually wonder if Andre, because we find out ages later that, of course, it was Arthur Reeves who told the mob where to find the Beaumonts. I wonder if she knows that. And this is part of her revenge. Like, oh, I'm leading them on, too. I'm going to let them think I'm in a relationship. She was totally like, could be literally, he's just there in the bed, standing to attention and all that business. And then she comes in, a negligee, and then pulls out from behind her back a giant, like, axe hand or whatever you want to call that thing. And then just does some, creative castration.
Yeah. Take another pass at this movie, and that could be a good remove a little bit of Joker and let her get the revenge on... I almost said Ellis, but yeah, Arthur. I really like the way that she puts the magazine away because she's basically being called out here. Like, are you going to look up Bruce Wayne? And she's literally like been looking at a magazine with Bruce. I'm
guessing as a little bit of confusion though, the fact that you do get in-flight magazines. So you're like, it could be that he just happened to be on the front cover, but I think it would be more like, no, she's actively bought the thing to bring on the plane with her.
Oh yeah. It's so that her answer to him is nonsense. Like, she is going to be looking up Bruce Wayne. She is going to be going to speak to him and whatnot.
I was surprised, though. It's an actual magazine, too. I thought they would have to make up something. But it's like, that's Fortune magazine. It's like, the Fortune 500 stuff. Like, they were like, even in the novelization, they call it like, something like Elite magazine or something like that to make you think like, we didn't want to pay the rights to it. In fact, Fortune's just like, by all means, throw our name on there as well.
I wonder if you look it up if in 1993, is that right? I wonder if Fortune magazine is owned by Warner Media.
So
it might be.
See, I tried to see like, well, who was there like Businessman of the Year or whatever in 93? Apparently they only started doing Businessman of the Year. It was always, they were more focused on companies back in the day. So it just wasn't like Microsoft and things like that they would talk about. But they only started Businessman of the Year in like 2001. And I was stunned to find out. This will probably mean nothing to you guys because you don't have to deal with them. But Michael O'Leary, the guy who runs Ryanair, was Businessman of the Year. And he is like the most friggin' corrupt, penny pinching, cheap, sleazy asshole. I guess maybe that's why he's...
That sounds right then, yeah.
I guess, he managed to swindle loads of people into like, this budget airline that just basically it's like tying it to a friggin' metal bar and flinging it in the air and hoping you land safely on the other side. Like,
it barely functions as an airline.
It's like Spirit over here. But Ryanair is a little bit worse.
You've been over, Johnny, a couple of times, haven't you? So, you might have had to deal with the O'Leary's Folly.
O'Leary's Folly. That's the episode title right there. People will be waiting for the explanation.
Did I ever say that? Because I thought they were kind of downplaying. I guess maybe because this is a more grounded, serious take. But like, I thought they were considering, John, like where we got the inspiration for our Patreon show's name. This is quite low key magazine cover compared to ones we've seen elsewhere. Because
well, I think it's trying to look like a real cover of Fortune, right?
Yeah. But just the fact too, it's like one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in Gotham. This is like
that made me laugh so hard.
It's like one of several wealthy entrepreneurs that are lying around Gotham.
Who else is this rich in Gotham?
Well, who are the five families? The Cobblepots, the Canes, I think, and
to rival Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it is. Yeah, the Cobblepots. Although in this version of there would have been because. There is like the Cobblepot does several times try to get his reputation back throughout the cartoon, but he just can't help himself because he is just a criminal and stuff.
But it's like the five founding families that eventually the other four went to be part of the Court of Owls,
right?
Later on, so because they don't like Batman.
Yeah, unfortunately, they wouldn't get to do that in the cartoon, but they have done it just recently in the Batman: The Adventure Continues. So you do get DCAU Court of Owls these days, but just in I was just sitting there like seeing like one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in Gotham, like Val Kilmer was Time Magazine's Man of the Year in Batman Forever. He was on the cover of friggin' Gotham Beat, and he was on the front cover of sorry, can't even pronounce it as a ridiculous name. Gothmetropolitan. I was like, that was one we found like afterwards. I don't think it's featured in the movie, but instead of Metropolitan, it's
Nice.
Gothmapolitan.
I think that's why it didn't make the cut, Niall, because nobody can say it.
But although I have to say, Kevin Conroy's Batman, he might only be one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in Gotham, but he does have a handsome smirk. He's got he's got a rich asshole face going on there in that cover, to be fair.
I'll be honest, if I just saw that cover, I'd want to punch the guy.
Yeah.
Look at him. Although she's interested, like, I think this is even more evidence, that she didn't just pick this magazine up by accident. She sort of caresses his face. And that smirk you're talking about.
I'd say it's so weird, though, because this is coming after the week of Ben Affleck at the Grammys. And to be fair to the casting people for Dawn of Justice, Ben Affleck does look a ton like the Bruce Wayne in this cartoon.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just weird because... Yeah. But it's just weird because, like, oh, there you go, Bruce Wayne, look at that great picture he's taken. And then every time people see Ben Affleck out in public, it's like, that guy can't pose for a photo anymore. He always looks miserable. And then instead he was even at the Grammys, he looked like he wanted to die as he was sitting there. And apparently then J-Lo came out and said, like, no, he was aware that it was happening too, but he knew the meme was occurring in real time. He's like, people are going to be taking pictures of me and talking about my grim face, but no, just let it happen.
He just really leaned into the Bruce vibes for his life now.
Yeah. Went
He
too
is
much.
just Bruce Wayne now.
Yeah, he's like, I'll never get over it. He's like, but Bruce Wayne knows how to turn it on, Ben. That's the thing. You're Bruce Wayne, you know how to turn it on. You were good. You were great at being the smoozy, sleazy guy at parties and stuff.
That's a good point. Not every Bruce Wayne, not every version does, but his specifically did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I have to mention too, so we do get, I love Arthur's whole vibe as he's in his office. And I love that, like, he's just looking at himself in the mirror as he's, like...
Yeah.
He's calling himself a big-time city councilman, and he's looking at himself as he says it. It's pre the American Psycho movie, but it basically is Patrick Bateman shagging two prostitutes and looking himself in the mirror as he's doing it and pointing and winking and stuff like that. Like,
It's the kid version.
yeah. It's basically it's like, Mary Harron saw Mask of the Phantasm. Was like, I like this, but it actually brings up a weird thing for me because I know that that move is also used in the cartoon, because I loved it when I saw it in that, where the Joker does that. I think it's the Harley and Ivy episode, and Harley's calling to tell him, like, oh, Mr. J, and I'm hooked up with Ivy, and telling her all his problems, and he's just like, and he's just like, with feet up at the desk with the mirror in hand, like, blowing kisses to himself.
Yeah.
Because he's such a vain asshole. And so later on he's like, what? But
That's precisely why I can't put the camera on Zoom. Because I just do that.
You'd be sitting doing that weird hand thing that Arthur is doing.
Yeah.
Trying to work out what the hell they're going for. We need to give him some business with his hands.
I just don't understand why every bad guy, not every, there's a good vast majority of Batman bad guys that are so vain and do stuff like this. So Joker, obviously, like, Two-Face hates himself, but he also has a huge ego about himself. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to stare at a mirror, but so many men are full of themselves in this universe.
I think it's really easy shorthand for, oh, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, look at the Riddler as well. It's just like, no matter how, he's always like, I'm so much smarter than Batman. It's like, he has outsmarted you every single time, Eddie. When are you going to learn you're not smarter than him? Like, oh, you got lucky that time. Yeah. You got lucky the last 15 times. It's okay. I'm still smarter than you.
I like the shot of the wide shot of Arthur at his desk. This movie and the show were able to really make big spaces. Like every house or every office or, the ceilings are 20 feet high. He's got this massive office with just this one desk in the middle, where you can't really do that with building sets and things, here and there a little bit you can, but the animated series, everyone had this massive space with one desk or one, bed in it or whatever. So yeah, because here they can just, they're painting this down on paper and glass. Like they can create these massive spaces because it doesn't cost them anything.
I love it because it creates a very specific aesthetic for the city. Even when you think about the fact that heating these buildings would cost a fortune.
Yeah, I'm currently living in a spacious. I'm not doing it to brag, but like the house I'm in currently is pretty big. But it has been a nightmare this winter with energy bills and stuff. There's days I've literally just not wanted to get out of bed because it's too cold. And as I'm out of bed, it's like, how soon can I get back into bed? Because it's too damn cold, man.
Well, that's what happens to, sorry to shatter the illusion to foreign people listening, but that's what happens to all our wealthy British landowners, with their country estates and all this. They're all poor because they can't heat the place. They're all falling apart.
Well, but no, just bring up the Arthur Joker comparison because I remember when I was a kid, when the first time I watched this, when I saw Arthur Reeves, I was like, oh, this must be a prequel. That guy's going to turn into the Joker. There's just something about his face was like, oh yeah, he looks like he'll become the Joker in this. And then when the Joker showed up, I was like, oh. Okay.
I could see that. He's got like a similar face shape.
Definitely
he's looking
a long
in the
nose.
mirror, which reminded me of 89.
Yeah. So I was a bit taken aback then because it was just like, well, it seems like this is an odd way to go about. When you're a kid, you just roll with the things. Whereas it's like, oh, I guess the Joker was once a city councilman called Arthur Reeves, whatever. And nowadays, it's like when we reviewed Joker the movie, I was like, that's not the Joker. That's just some asshole called Arthur Fleck. Like that's not the character. Now I'm too set in my ways to adapt to it. It's like, no, that's not the character at all. But back then, I was like, yeah, that's him. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's gonna be this guy. Whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah. So I was trying to look into I was really not taken aback, but I was very curious about why they've chosen to do that particular pose with his hands. Because it's either like he's pretending he's Spider-Man and he's practicing the web shooter pose. People don't know offhand. He's basically doing like little, like a metal devil horns, kind of like. He's either doing that or he is looking at himself in the mirror going like, you are so fucking metal, man. Like, you are so fucking metal.
I think he's just admiring his cuticles on his nails. He's really just taking a look at, does he need to schedule a pedicure or a manicure later? I don't think there's anything.
He's totally a guy who gets a manicure and a pedicure.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to read into with the shape he's making with his fingers. I think it's more about he's examining his nails. Yeah, he's gotten a lot more fussy maybe these days. It's all about appearances. Now he can afford to care about appearances and stuff. But I did actually coincidentally just this week I saw on Instagram Isabella Rossellini was going through various hand gestures from Italy. Because Italians talk with their hands a lot. And she, weirdly enough, said that what we would consider like the kind of metal, whoa, like the devil horns thing. She's like, that's an insult in Italy. It's basically that doing that means bad luck. That's you wishing bad luck on someone. But then if you turn your hand slightly, it's good luck. And so it's just like, it must be really, I was thinking like, it must be really, confusing if you're like a metalhead in Italy. Particularly if you're in the band, because like everyone doing that to you, like, are they wishing us bad luck or good luck or what's happening up here?
But that's even more metal.
To turn it a little bit.
Yeah. This is like, all right. So it's like, well, how lucky do you want me to be? Just like twist their hands, like, kind of lucky-ish, I guess.
Nah, what's more metal than wishing bad luck on people?
Fair point.
Yeah, because if fair enough, she started off saying it was an insult. I was just like, oh yeah, it would be kind of a metal move to go around to people being like, "F you," and just doing the hand sign to them. But bad luck's just very like, hope that you don't get that job tomorrow.
Oh, that's deeply cutting people though. That's the thing. That's worse.
So the answer was why it's like, Italy just isn't into metal. But it's like, no, it brings out too many bad vibes on people. So. All we have is Goblin. That was the closest we got to it, and then we just exported them out to people. But
then she hangs up the phone here. They both hang up the phone.
She slips her magazine, which I'm assuming is a Fortune magazine that actually has Gotham Beat hidden inside it, where it has like the Bruce Wayne picture with all the little kisses and stuff all over his face, and
That's really what she wants to read.
the glitter in his hair and stuff.
We then cut to Wayne Manor. I'm assuming it's Wayne Manor, and a lovely party. Is it really a Batman movie if we don't have a party scene?
That's I actually made that note. It's just like this is every movie.
Yeah.
And this party doesn't even have like a theme. Like the first one was like it was a fundraiser for Harvey Dent. It was like the casino night or something, wasn't it? They're all gambling. Mm-hmm. Then you had the Max.
It's a random Thursday. They just wanted to throw a party. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's what the rich get up to, Niall.
And then was it Masquerade Ball, Nigmatech launch party. And then it was like a telescope thing or something. The last one was. I think there might have been a couple of ones the last movie, but
there were several parties in that last one.
But again, knowing that when Kevin Smith wrote that Superman Live script, he had a party scene in it, and Warner Brothers told him take that out. Those things are so expensive to shoot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, why do you keep insisting having them in every single movie then?
It's to show that Bruce Wayne is rich.
I think we go through. I don't think there's maybe. Oh no. I was going to say maybe Dark Knight Rises that one, but no, Batman Begins, he burns down the mansion. Dark Knight is the Harvey Dent one, the Joker comes in it. And then there's the Dark Knight Rises one, there's a storm coming.
Opens on a party.
Yeah. And then friggin' Dawn of Justice, he meets friggin' Wonder Woman at a party. He's like, why are they insisting on these tuxedo parties?
It's important. It's very important. And as it pans across, I couldn't get this out of my mind that there's this one guest it kind of focuses on. I'm like, have they just drawn Clark Gable?
Probably. Almost definitely.
It's just Clark Gable.
It's just that the ears were too intense. It's like, it's gotta be it.
And I mean, he was a cool looking guy. It does always baffle me, some of those old actors though, were like heartthrobs, because I think he's very unique looking and cool looking, but not in a way that these days people would be like, oh, Clark Gable.
I think he was even. I think even back then, Clark Gable was like kind of made fun of because of his ears. Like he has very sticky out ears. Yeah, I think that's one of the things where like he considered it a heartthrob, but people would make fun of his ears occasionally. And I think he took that very personally. Like I think you actually get old Warner Brothers cartoons where they'll have Clark Gable in them, and he'll his ears will flap and stuff like their wings and things like that. Yeah.
So there's such a thing as like interestingly attractive. So like you're not the traditional I guess over here all American looking jock style, or like classically attractive. There's just something about them that's interesting, and you're like, you're different. I like that. Yeah, automatically attractive.
80s Christopher Walken.
Oh, good choice.
He's interestingly attractive, yeah.
I was thinking of someone that I can't believe I'm going to have in the same conversation as Clark Gable. But I suppose that's what people these days seem to think about that Pete Davidson guy.
Okay, Pete Davidson has line cook energy, and your listeners are going to know that, but that's fine. It's just that he's like the down home person. He doesn't look like he should be a celebrity at all.
Yeah.
He just sort of happened to accidentally become one.
Yeah. The one that I don't understand, and I'm probably going to get crucified for this, is Timothée Chalamet. That is not he might be a great actor, but I don't understand.
I can understand people who are into the Twinkie kind of thing.
Yeah, he's a real type. He's like if you were into Corpse Bride and stuff like that, you'd be into Timothée Chalamet. Although you might have been into Corpse Bride, Johnny, I don't know. But
I love that movie, but I don't know. I don't want that look, I guess, in a partner.
And that's okay. You don't have to, want every kind of individual. That's fine.
I mean, would you be one of the women draped over Bruce Wayne later in the minutes? Because he apparently he's attracting everybody in this damn thing. He's like a magnet.
I've always loved Bruce Wayne. Whatever iteration of him, I love him. I don't know why, but I just love him so much. No matter how many times they redo him, who plays him. It's just the ether of the character that I love.
So even like mopey Robert Pattinson, because I know he's split people. I love his portrayal, but I know some people honestly, that is just not Bruce Wayne and stuff. But
as somebody who was like a Twilight person, I did not like him as Edward.
Oh.
Which, I mean, that's also a hot take there. I was skeptical of him being Bruce, and I loved it. I loved every minute of that movie.
See,
So even Robert Pattinson's Bruce, I love.
He's probably my favorite. Like I can't believe I'm saying it. He's possibly my favorite Batman. But obviously that hasn't had a lot of time to sink in yet, so that I may revise that thing. But,
yeah, I'm of the mind, like, in the suit, he's my favorite Batman. He is the best guy in the suit. But like his Bruce, I'm fully forgiving of, because I actually love the portrayal. But it's also like, this is early days, though. Like,
yeah, it's different.
They'll come back for a sequel, and the hair will be cut, and he'll be suave and stuff. He's adapting to the character as he goes and stuff. But like, yeah. So but like, I'm a real sucker for the Keaton Bruce Wayne. I just love that guy who's just genuinely. You can just tell there's something off about him the whole time, even when he's trying to be normal and stuff.
I love all the different ones, though, because the Keaton one, amazing in a different way, again. And then you get, like, this kind of Bruce Wayne, where he's just pretending to be like a himbo.
Yeah. It's great. It's such a great... Yeah. I love how much Bruce you do get with this and the animated series. Kevin Conroy really got to play a lot of Bruce Wayne, and he got to play it in a few different ways, and especially in this movie, he got to play Bruce as a few different versions of Bruce. We'll get a version next minute, or the Friday's minute.
Yeah,
he gets to play young Bruce for the first time. So
yeah,
it's a nice variety I'm sure for the actor and
We should actually mention, funny you said about the Clark Gable thing too, John, because one of these ladies with him, I'm assuming, is just directly modeled on Veronica Lake. Like the blonde ladies is like, that's just, this is exactly what Veronica Lake looks like.
She's also got a Vicky Vale vibe.
But it was Veronica Lake that Kim Basinger was supposed to look like in LA Confidential, right? Or was it Lana Turner? I'll have to double check that, because I know the whole thing was that she was a prostitute they were given plastic surgery to look like celebrities.
Oh.
But I was pretty sure, I think it was Veronica Lake she was supposed to look like. Is it Veronica Lake or Lana Turner? So I think that, because there's the scene then with Guy Pearce, like he's interrogating some people in a cafe, and he's just like, well, just because you're a hooker cut to look like Lana Turner, you're still a hooker. And then Russell Crowe's like, that actually is Lana Turner. It's like, and this is one of the comic beats of LA Confidential. Great movie, everyone should go watch it. But I'm pretty sure, so it'd be a weird coincidence. It's like, this lady is evoking Vicky Vale, Veronica Lake energy, and that's exactly who Kim Basinger would kind of go on to play in a movie like a couple of years later as well. So
everything's connected.
Yeah, totally.
I have a different note about that same blonde character. Kind of two notes, but one is that they really animate her hair. Like it bounces around in a really great way. Like there's some characters it seems like they devote more, I don't know, animation frames to certain characters. Sal Valestra later on in the movie gets so many expressive, I don't know how to explain it, but
they let him be like a proper wrinkly old man. They throw into the detail of it and stuff.
But even just like the animated frames between when he's on screen, he just really feels like a real performance. Yeah. And this blonde lady, like just the way that they drew and animated her hair is really, really cool. So.
It kind of reminded me of some of the animation you get on like Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, totally.
And then in complete contrast, everyone in the background is completely stationary.
I love the background, layers of this party, this minute and next minute. There's so many, like they're literally frozen characters.
Yeah.
But the way that the sound design works, you feel like you're in a real party and that these are real people, even though they don't move at all. So.
When I was watching it, I never questioned it. It was only until we had to look at it minute by minute, and look for the little things. And I was like, hang on, they're not moving.
I guess like Bruce Wayne, to like make it seem like his parties are more bustling, he just brings in cardboard standouts to be like, dot them around there. People will think there's people talking to them and stuff.
Oh God, that's my own tactic for my own parties.
It's kind of like he watched Home Alone. He's like, I can do something with that. like that kid's onto something.
That's what they did with in the COVID times with sports stadiums. They would fill the audience with cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
The best thing WWE did was, because no one could be in the arena, you could apply to be on a screen. Basically, instead of people, there were screens, and you would like call in if you got chosen. And your video of you watching the show live would be playing on the screen.
That's so weird.
It was a bit creepy. What would they call it? The Thunderdome.
So weird.
Like, this is Thunderdome.
yeah. But then this woman asks him if he's ever thought about marriage. And I just thought, right, hang on. That you can't ask someone that. That's not subtle.
Well, I don't think subtlety is their strong suit.
No.
Yeah, true.
I think in high society like this, there's so much expectation, you know, and all these women apparently they want to be the ones that Bruce asks to marry them.
Yeah, it's almost like they're doing it to kind of make what he ends up doing to them a little bit of a lighter blow, because it's like, well, they're clearly only in it for the money. So it almost excuses him toying with them and then throwing them away when he has no intention of ever hooking up with them and stuff. But
it's so weird because there's like 3 women literally throwing themselves at one man at a party. Like, I imagine you were at a party and you watched this one hunk of man, and he's got so many women that are like, Brucey, we love you.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Like, this is weird.
The downside of this movie is, you know, name me a female character in this movie that's not named Andrea.
Well, I do know the one who
right,
because she has a very distinctive name, but like that's the only other one. Yeah, totally.
So that's a little unfortunate, you know. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then we get like this third woman coming over that you mentioned, Johnny, and I'm scared. Right?
What
what's
about
going
the
on with the
spelling
eyes?
issue, or
it's the eyes, like lifeless eyes, black eyes,
black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
You know, what's going on?
No, that is a baffling one. I was already confused because the blonde lady who speaks, I was convinced that voice was Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, and I know that it's not. But she sounds so much like Sarah Michelle Gellar. I was like, but you wouldn't have been active then. But it's the same voice. It was crazy to me. But, looking into her, I did. John, I have to bring this up for you, John, because you're gonna love this person when you find out what she's been in. I'm thinking, although I'm only assuming that it is her, due to the limited people in the movie, because animation, you can just get people who do a bunch of different voices and stuff. And again, as you mentioned, Travis, there are not many other women in the movie from this point on. So this appears to be a lady called Jane Downs. But the thing is, she's from Bromley in Kent. And she would have been like 58 when they did this. And I'm like, she sounds really young. So maybe it's just that a woman just had a talent for sounding young or whatever. But English actress, was in loads of stuff. And let me tell you, John, she was in Bergerac.
Hey,
James Bond Jr. Brought up earlier in the run there. He learned the game from his uncle James, and now he's heir to the name, James Bond. Darling Buds of May.
Oh my God, that's old school.
Yeah. Heartbeat.
Oh my God, this is making my day. These are all terrible shows.
Yeah. Her last role was as a character called Dixie Goff in Midsummer Murders. I was like, that sounds like a kind of like a new wave punk band name, or like like, you know, Captain Sensible or something. It's like, yeah, Dixie Goff. I
think every actor here has been in that show, Midsummer Murders.
Well, the thing is, John, the final thing she's in, and it's bringing us back to the start, baby.
Oh my God,
she was in The Bill.
In season 1, if people are new, every single like bit part in that movie, every actor had been in the British police drama The Bill. Yeah,
it was literally because they filmed it obviously in England, so it just meant that like that guy, The Bill, the boom mic operator, he worked on The Bill. Like every single time we go to the IMDb, it's like they were on The Bill as well. And then weirdly enough, when we got into Schumacherville, everybody worked on Jag. And the actress portraying the other, she also worked on Jag. So I was like, the two of them together at last. My God,
it's a Bat minute.
Yeah. So yeah, the other actress there, before the third woman comes along, Verney Watson, or Verney Watson Johnson, which she's known professionally, which is a better name, quite frankly, Verney Watson Johnson.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's mostly known for being Stella Henry in General Hospital. Never seen it, don't know anything about it. She was in Bel Air, Will Smith produced reboot of Fresh Prince that was like...
Wait, that actually came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the world was just like, we don't want this. And somehow it still continues to exist. And then she's like, yeah, but and tons of stuff like Bernie Mac show, GTA San Andreas. But then she did a lot of stuff for DCEAU. She did Static Shock, which is a spin-off of Batman the Animated Series. She's in Return of the Joker. She's in Superman the Animated Series, or we call Batman the Animated Series BTAS for for short. But then the CITAS isn't really great for Superman the Animated Series. Like CITAS.
Stas.
Yeah, and she goes all the way back to Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. And then that was very exciting because I had no idea. I had heard of the show What's Happening, and I didn't realize it has 2 exclamation points in its title. So like it's going to be when I do declare the podcast examining things that have exclamation points in the title gets going. There's going to have to be like a What's Happening season, I guess. Each episode.
At least.
Yeah.
I think I know her mostly from, I mean, it makes sense that she was in the Bel-Air show because in the TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, she played Will Smith's mom. Maybe just once, maybe a couple episodes, but that's where I know her from.
Of course, John, also to keep you... I know you wouldn't forgive me if it wasn't mentioned, but she was also in Martial Law.
Yes! I was talking about martial law with someone last night, and they were like, let's do a podcast about it. Great show.
We can cover it after we finish our Manimal coverage on Patreon. We can move on to Martial Law.
That started as a joke, and now we're seriously considering doing a Manimal show.
It was only like 8 episodes, We could go through Manimal very quickly. But yeah. So again, just bringing up these actors now, because I don't know if they ever feature throughout the rest of the movie. I don't remember many other female speaking parts as it goes on, except for people in the background going like, wow, look over there. Like that kind of thing. I think that's about it, so...
yeah. Now it's made me not like the movie as much. Realizing that, hang on, this is really bad for like female representation. But I suppose that's a lot of cartoons back then. Like, well, young boys won't want a story centering around women,
right?
I guess it's fair the animated series. Like, who am I to speak? But like, I think they did do a lot of female-centric episodes and stuff in the Batman animated show. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Now you know this, Johnny. You were like, actually, yeah, you're right. This movie.
No. I guess I was thinking like they had to balance it out somehow because you can cut this because it's a spoiler, I guess. But if you whatever of who the villain turns out to be, because other than you seeing like the sirens or something, there hasn't been a solo like premier villain like the Phantasm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I can forgive you a little bit knowing that like the Phantasm was who they were and
right
got as much screen time as they got.
Why are you dancing around the spoiler? They've literally talked about
I know. Okay.
who the Phantasm is from this.
Well, that's the thing, actually. You won't know yet because, we haven't started releasing episodes. Spoiler behind the scenes there. But we discussed that both off mic and in the first episode. Like, are we going to just talk about who it is? Yeah. And I think we settled on, let's just do it.
Okay. Well, the fact that, like, it's a woman villain in 1993, and that's, like, she is the main... And the fact that the Joker takes second fiddle to her in this movie, because he's just there because he happened to be a part of the mobster gang that was happening at the time. And he's just an afterthought.
The Joker in this movie, as much, and I cannot, Mark Hamill gives like a phenomenal performance in this movie. Oh, yeah. But he really does stink of studio going, it's a movie. We need a big bad guy in it. It's like, well, we have a big bad guy. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You need a bad guy that kids will be excited about. So put the Joker in there. But he doesn't really fit in the story. It's like, make him fit in the story. The Joker's in the movie, all right? But yeah, because we do get to more of this approaching lady. And there's a lot to say about her, considering who's playing her. So
okay, yeah.
We will get to that in the next minute. For now, we will head off into the dark, dark night. Would our wonderful, amazing guests like to promote anything they have coming up? Or even if you don't have anything coming up, just promote something in general. What are you up to, both of you?
I am under a rock currently. So you can go and check out all of the movies on Movies by Minute. Pick one. I might have guessed it on it at least once.
Probably
I'm a
have.
returning champion here, so you never really know. But yeah, and I'm sure Travis has some things that he wants to talk about because you're always doing stuff, Travis.
Yeah, guilty. I've been on the show a few times. I've plugged Real Comic Heroes, so definitely check that out. But I'm excited about a new podcast I'm working on. I'm returning to Movies by Minutes, and I'm doing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So over on Minute of Thieves.
That's exciting. I haven't watched that in a long time. That'll be a good reason to watch it again.
Well, John, please come on the show. Thank you. I know Niles got some minutes lined up.
Oh yeah,
Johnny, I think
leapt on.
Hopefully, Johnny's going to come on.
It was just like no one's taking those minutes yet.
See, I'll gladly come on the show. I refuse to put myself forward, so being asked, that's nice. Thank you. And as usual,
I'll connect with you offline, and we'll work something out.
Well, yeah, money will be exchanged.
Right.
And we'll work on the contracts. Have your people fax my people. And as usual, speak to us. Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave. Twitter at Bat-Minute. Instagram, The Bat-Minute. And why don't you go to the Sleepy Charlie Media Patreon page where you can get lots of lovely bonus episodes. By the time you hear this, I have no idea what we've had come out. Maybe Manimal. I don't know. Or maybe something actually Batman related.
Yeah. There's already abandoned Manimal. We're like midway through. Oh no, this show's terrible. We're just stopping this whole project now.
Nope, check it out and watch Manimal and join us again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute.
Next time. Face. The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the party drink, Rosé. Its 5-second mission: to punish playboy debauchery, to seek justice for forgotten phone numbers, to be boldly flung where probably many drinks have been flung before. Brucey is buoyed by a battalion of babes, with an easily identifiable voice inquiring about getting engaged. This squad of thirsty succubi are draining the cad dry, but can a beverage to the visage help the wretchedly rich reprobate rehydrate? We're serving the tea, Earl Grey, hot, right into your face on Wednesday, Batmites. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute. Make it so.
Must have job, stiff it,